take flight in the dark on the light.
This is a Deathly Curious dispatch, bringing you verified updates on the stories making headlines across the worlds of the paranormal, true crime and the unexplained. Before we begin, a quick disclaimer. The information discussed in this episode is based on publicly available court records and reporting from reputable news organisations available at the time of recording. As with any developing legal matter, new information may emerge after this episode is published. The purpose of this episode is to present the known facts and provide context, not speculation. Well, guys, this isn't a brand new case, but it's one that suddenly started making headlines again after reports began circulating about whether Victoria Goodwin may be potentially eligible for parole and when. So rather than focusing on the rumours, today I wanted to look at where the case stands as of now, what has been confirmed through the courts, and what these latest reports actually mean. Because while the headlines may suggest there's been a major new development, the reality is a little more nuanced. So, let's look at the case. Back in March 2025, Victoria Goodwin, the wife of Ghost Adventures investigator Aaron Goodwin, was arrested in Las Vegas after authorities alleged she had conspired to have her husband murdered. According to investigators, the case came to light after prison authorities seized a contraband mobile phone belonging to Florida inmate Grant Amato, who is currently serving life sentences for murdering his parents and brother. Messages recovered from that phone allegedly discussed arranging Aaron Goodwin's murder while he was away filming in California. Investigators also alleged that Victoria and Amato had developed a relationship after she began corresponding with him following a true crime documentary about his case. The allegations quickly made headlines around the world, leaving both paranormal fans and the wider public stunned. Aaron later told investigators he had been completely blindsided, explaining that he believed they were in a happy marriage and had no idea any of this was happening behind the scenes. Then, rather than taking the case to trial, Victoria Goodwin later entered into a plea agreement. She pleaded guilty to one count of conspiracy to commit murder, while prosecutors agreed to dismiss the separate solicitation charge. The guilty plea meant there was no trial because she accepted responsibility for the conspiracy charge. On the 5th of June 2025, Victoria Goodwin was sentenced to between 36 and 90 months in prison. She also received credit for the 92 days she had already spent in custody following her arrest. During the sentencing hearing, both Victoria and Aaron addressed the court. Victoria apologised, describing the situation as her rock bottom and telling Aaron he would never be in danger from her again. Aaron's statement, however, revealed just how devastating the ordeal had been for him. He told the court that he cried every day, that he no longer knew who he could trust. Understandable. He explained that after discovering Victoria's affair, he had actually hoped they could repair their marriage until he learned about the alleged murder-for-hire plot. He finished by saying he didn't believe he would ever truly feel safe again. It was an emotional reminder that beyond the headlines and court documents were two people whose lives had been changed forever. So why is everyone suddenly talking about the case again? Recently, social media posts have been circulating claiming Victoria Goodwin could become eligible for parole as early as March 2028, with a maximum release date in September 2032. those dates do appear to be consistent with both her sentence and Nevada's parole system. However, this is where it's important to understand what those dates actually mean. Being eligible for parole simply means an inmate can be considered for release after serving the minimum portion of their sentence. Whether parole is actually granted is determined by the parole board after considering a range of factors, including an inmate's conduct while incarcerated and other statutory considerations. It's not just automatic. So, while these dates are legitimate corrections milestones, they should not be interpreted as guaranteed release dates. At the time of recording this, there have been no significant new court filings, appeals, or additional criminal proceedings that change the outcome of this case. The sentence handed down in June 2025 remains in place. The parole dates now circulating online are best understood as an administrative update rather than a new legal development. One of the reasons this story resonated so strongly wasn't because it involved ghosts or haunted locations. It was because it involved someone many people have watched on television for years. Aaron Goodwin has been a familiar face in the paranormal community for decades, and seeing someone connected to that world become the victim of an alleged murder-for-hire plot was confronting for fans around the world. As always, it's important to separate verified court records from speculation and social media headlines. Stories like this can take on a life of their own online, but the facts remain the most important part of the conversation. If there are any genuine developments in the future, I'll be sure to bring them to you in another Deathly Curious Dispatch. Until then, I'm Monique, and this has been my Deathly Curious Dispatch. Thank you so much for listening, and until next time, stay curious, because some stories refuse to stay buried.
I'm the thrill.